All right, Grizz Nation, it is that time of year, and we are back with another episode. It's Brawl Week, man. It
Heck
is.
yeah, man.
I
Best
can't wait.
week of the year for football.
And Luke and I were talking before recording, and just like how work has not been productive this week.
No.
Just kind of like you know how like they say March Madness is probably the least productive.
Yeah. For
time.
most of America, I think.
Yeah. I think Montana, like this is the week.
Oh, yeah. This is like, I mean, yeah, like, and the sad thing is my job right now, this is like we're going through this new like strategy and all this stuff. I am doing my best to focus and like try to dive into it and stuff. And just, it's hard to knowing that Friday is when I'm going to take off. So actually, just because of it, I took half the day off on Friday. Even though I'm flying out like that evening, I was just like, screw it. I'm not going to be able to handle it.
You got to get yourself right. You got to have some time to
I'm sure if you're a fan of either side this week, you're just, I mean, it's hard to be productive, especially like if you have social media on your phone. Like my phone just constantly goes off.
Oh, yeah. Mine does too.
Nonstop right now. And I love it. I love all of it.
Yeah. Before we get into the Brawl, guys, let's go and do some Grizz updates because we are in that time of year where winter season has come and there's winter sports galore. So let's give an update about volleyball. They have some home stretch games here this weekend. This Thursday, they are hosting Portland State, and that's games at 4 p.m. on Thursday. 4 p.m. So if you guys need to, go support volleyball. They are headed into a stretch where they need some support and right before Big Sky Conference tournament. So go support them. You can find that on ESPN Plus as well. And then this is the awesome thing is they play after the football. On Saturday.
Sac State that night, I think.
Sac State, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. Which I think like Portland State and Sac State are pretty much the top of the Big Sky Conference this year in volleyball. So go support them. Dahlberg Arena, Robin Sullivan Court at 7 p.m. on Saturday, right after the Brawl. So those are the last two home games, last two regular conference games before next week they go into the Big Sky Conference tournament. I think I checked it last week, and I think we're like number 6 or 7. So we'll most likely make it to the conference tournament, but we'll probably be playing a higher seed than we probably would have liked. But it's been an up and down year for them. Played really well, and then some stretches they just couldn't get off the floor. So, but that's how volleyball goes, man. It's a momentum sport. So
no, definitely momentum sport. Yeah, you see a lot of swings in those volleyball matches.
Yep. Lady Grizz basketball. They've got a big one this Tuesday, and this is it's at home, guys. So if you are in Missoula and you want to see a top 25 women's basketball team, go support the Lady Grizz. They are playing at 7 p.m. tomorrow against Washington State. I think they're like 23, 24 in the nation. So they need our support. Go support them. 7 p.m. tomorrow. And then they go to Phoenix, Arizona to play Grand Canyon on the 20th, that Monday. So there's going to be some good basketball. I'm going to try to watch that one. It is on ESPN Plus. So if you are not in Missoula, like Luke and I, we can watch that on ESPN Plus. So definitely support them. So going into the men's basketball too as well, guys. They had a really close basketball game against Oregon.
Yeah, they did.
It was tied up at half. They wound up losing that one 61-75. And then they played really well against UC Davis last night. They got that win 78-65. So I'm really excited about this team.
Yeah. So I agree. I think our men's basketball team, and the ladies too. I think
the ladies are going to be good too.
We're going to see some good basketball this year. So
yep.
I didn't get to tune in that UC Davis game, but I got to see the highlights, and impressive. So
It was a good game. So both the bigs in that game, Luluki and I can't. I'm going to say his name wrong. So sorry. And then Thomas had great games. They play Thursday, and that's at home as well. So if you don't have anything to do at night, like I probably would be like at University of Montana. If I lived in Missoula, all my time would probably be at sporting events. But they play against North Dakota State at 8 p.m. on Thursday. It'll be on ESPN Plus. It's that Mike Montgomery traveling tournament that they're doing. So it's going from one place to the other. It's different sites and stuff like that. So North Dakota State, that's a pretty good team. They played them last year, I believe, too, and they've been kind of going back and forth. So and then I think they go to Houston, Texas again and play Houston on the 24th, Friday.
Oh, nice.
Day after Thanksgiving. So that'll be a big one too as well.
So one thing, I was just trying to look this up because I just saw it got put out on, I think, Instagram or something, but it's for students. Like if you didn't get a ticket to the Brawl, there's more chances for you to do that. And what they're doing is if you go to like all the games this week that are like the basketball games, the volleyball and stuff, each time you go, you get put in for chances to win tickets to the Brawl this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think it's just for students, but like if you go to all of them, you get 6 chances altogether if you go. So I don't know if there's any students that listen to this or not, but I saw that and I was like, shoot, if you didn't get tickets to the football game, here's a great opportunity for you to get a chance to get some more to get tickets.
Exactly. Definitely go support. You know, the students need to get tickets to that game.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just important. So yeah, great stuff going on. We have some questions as well, guys. But before we get into questions and before we get into our predictions, let's go over this PSU win. It was a 34-10. Luke wound up winning the prediction by 1 point. So Luke goes into this week beating me by 1 game. So
1 game, I'll take it.
Exactly. So yeah, it was a good game. There's some things I really wasn't worried about this game. But
well, it was interesting because there's a lot of people out there that kept saying trap game. I saw a lot of that on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
I think people just get worried about it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this. I think Bobby's 12-0 now on
really
or the Brawl. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't lose that game. So I know like Bobby gets nervous about this one too, because you're hoping your team's doesn't get, you're always worried with a big game like the Brawl that you're not getting ahead of yourself and stuff.
Yeah.
But team looked focused. Man, I wasn't worried about this game at all. Like I felt like, man, Portland State if we are truly the number 3 team, we should go in and roll them. And that's what we did. We went in and I think they played everybody on that traveled. Everybody got to play, which is great. So nice game. I mean, we did have the one Liam Brown injury, which is unfortunate, but for the most part, it seemed like most everybody came out of that pretty unscathed, which is what you're hoping for too. So I've heard that, Brown's working on see if he can go. So I'm hoping that injury wasn't too bad because it looked kind of bad where he was hobbling off of there.
Yeah.
Portland State, get a damn cart. It's like, come on.
Like, seriously, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was, I know that they have funding issues over there, but man, get something. I mean, because for their players alone, if someone gets hurt, you need to get that way to get them off the field. So,
well, I'm sure there's some, golf courses there that they could borrow maybe a golf cart at least.
That was a little disappointing. It was like, come on, you got big guys like this.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to carry him off the field.
Oh yeah, you're not carrying a guy like that.
So, but I mean, for the most part, like I said, came out unscathed. It was nice to see Ayat get some more time.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say, I saw Vidlat got in, but you can definitely tell there's a difference there. So I wish the best to that young man, but Ayat's just got it.
He does, and I was kind of talking to a friend about like, okay, let's see how he is with some stiffer competition because Northern Colorado they're trying to rebuild, and Portland State they're better than Northern Colorado. So
Yeah.
it was impressive to see what he did in that game.
Yeah,
You know,
PSU's played a lot of teams tough. I mean,
yes,
shoot, they went into the Cats and played them pretty tough.
yeah,
So, yeah, that they were no slouch, and we did a dang good job. Clifton too. I mean, Clifton's just, man, I don't know he phases that kid. Like,
no,
he is just like stacking up the wins, having a good time. Like, he loves playing football, and likes playing football here. It's I saw an interview with him earlier this week. I think it was after he won the Big Sky Player of the Week. They interviewed him on there. And they were talking about like what brought him here, and he loves the mountains. I was like,
yeah.
how cool is that? And like, he's all pumped because some of his teammates are going to take him hunting and fishing after the season. And like, I'm like, he's turned into a real Montanan, that kid is. So, I think he just loves playing ball and loves this atmosphere and stuff. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do next week.
Yeah, I am too. You know, it's really interesting. You said a yacht, right? And he was 10 of 15 for 131 yards. You know, they had that one sack, but then they also had that one touchdown called back, which was a horrible call.
Terrible call. Yeah, that was pass interference. The guy ran into our guy.
Yeah.
You know, we can stand there for a route waiting to catch the ball, and if someone runs into you.
Yeah. White basically turned around, looked for the ball, and like had his hands open. Even if he was, you know, trying to be in his way, you can't call that. Like, that's ridiculous. Clifton was 9 of 14 for 127. So no touchdowns on passing. But man alive, just the ground game again. Eli the man Gilman, man, 17 carries for 100 yards, but you know, he got a loss of 3.
He did get 100.
No, he had a loss, so it negated that 100-yard game, so he got 97.
I was saying, I knew he was close. I wasn't sure. I didn't see if he went over. I was hoping he would, but
yeah, he was 3 yards away. Clifton had an 8 for 72. And then Xavier, I was glad to get Xavier in there and how they used him as well as in the passing game too. So he had 3 carries for 29 yards. And then Osmo 10 for 28. I just, it was really good to see Isaiah Childs in there as well. So they rushed the ball for over 230 yards. And really, they had 2 penalties that negated, you know, 2 touchdowns. And you put those on and it's 49-10.
Yeah, there's, I mean, 11 they're off the board. I mean, it's just, the offensive line was dominating there on the run game. They were opening up some holes that my fat ass could run through. I mean, it was like, holy cow. Like, as a running back, those guys have just got to be pumped when they see holes like that. Just like, all right, now I get to run for daylight and make guys miss, or just truck guys like Osmo likes to do, and Gilman too. I mean, I see it. I think every pod, that guy always falls forward. Like,
oh yeah, no matter what,
push back, he's always falling forward. I don't know how he's like does it. I wonder what he squats. Like, that dude has got some strength in his legs, and he's
got 4 guys on him. He still goes forward.
Yeah, he still goes forward. He's just got that it factor. I mean, that guy's beast, like a beast mode for sure.
And, you know, not to rag on PSU, but, you know, our running backs are great, and our line is doing an amazing job. But
absolutely,
my goodness, learn how to tackle. Some of those tackles were just like half tackles and just like arm
tackle. Oh my god,
they did not want to be there.
Coach nuts arm tackle. Oh, yeah.
They did not want to be there. And then also, you know, one thing that didn't jump out at me until I actually was looking at some of the numbers. Riley Wilson had another 2 sacks.
Did he get 2? I knew he had 1. I couldn't remember if he had 2.
It says here he's got 2 sacks on the official statistics. And
he's another one that's just getting. There's so many guys in our team that seem to get better every week.
Yeah.
They're just, I mean, that's what we want in November, to be playing our best ball. And there's a lot of guys that are doing that. And still, you know, I think our closest complete game was Sac State, and that wasn't a complete game. I still don't think this was. So I'm still waiting for that too. I mean, I'm hoping that that's going to happen this weekend. We have our complete game, but it's just like we keep getting better and getting better and getting better, and that's what we want to see.
Well, and then also the Ryder Meyer almost interception. That thing, oh my gosh! When he missed that, I was just like, oh my gosh! Like,
That was 6 all the way.
oh, there was nothing,
Oh,
nothing in front of him.
that's the old adage. There's a reason he plays defense, folks.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, oh my God, he's gonna want that one back. I'm sure his teammates gave him a good hard time today, or when they went
Yeah,
to the film again, which
yeah.
rightfully so. Catch that
Oh.
ball, be the hero, man. But either way, nice job, getting that ball down and stuff.
Yeah. Also, one more thing on the defense, that Garrett Houston sack, boom. Oh my goodness gracious, that was a nice hit.
Yeah, he just
he blindsided him.
I mean,
boom.
I shared that one on Twitter because that was just, those are those moments you dream of as a linebacker coming through the hole and just like, oh my God, I get to just crush this guy. And, I mean, good for him too, not like targeting, just like perfect form tackle, driving to the ground, totally legal, but just badass hit. So,
well, and I think that like our offense too is finally getting into kind of a rhythm too, because this is another game with 450 plus yards total offense. The one thing that kind of, if we have to find something to kind of like, we need to work on this, the penalties kind of came up on us again, even though, 2 of those penalties the one penalty was kind of a crappy call. It would kind of made it less with that, the Keelan White, whatever they called it, they call it a hold. Did they call it interference?
I can't remember. I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. It felt almost to me like this is one of those games where you start feeling like, are they throwing penalties just to try to keep them in this damn game? Because sometimes it feels like that. I mean, refs will say they're not doing that, but boy, it sure felt like that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think sometimes when a team's dominating other teams so much that they'll, that looks, they start looking for things like that. And that's kind of what it felt like. Now, one penalty that I'm glad they picked it up, the candy
targeting,
we want to call it, the targeting.
That was so awesome.
That was awesome. I think someone on Twitter, I don't know if it was somebody was like, we should make shirts that say candy ass on it. I was like, oh yeah, I'd buy one. But I mean, it's true though. Like, but at the same time, so where I was going with this is like, they show a footage of the ref that throws the penalty, and where he's looking, it totally looks like targeting. It's like, it reminded me of like a movie, you block a certain way, it looks like you punched somebody when you really didn't hit him. That's exactly what it looked like. So I mean, that was not a bad throw of the penalty.
No,
it looked like targeting. But as soon as that's why they have the replay. You look at the replay, and you're like, oh, no, that was a legit hit, and they did the right thing. They picked the flag up. So I'm glad that they are able to have those other angles so they can get it right. But I totally get why he threw the flag, even though Bobby called him a candy ass, and rightfully so too. So
that was awesome. I would have loved to have been there.
I don't know if there was a hot mic down there, but you could hear a lot of stuff on our sideline.
Yeah, you could.
Like, I was like, "Whoa, holy cow!"
And it was like perfect too, because like panned right to him and said that too, and I was like, oh, did they know that was going to happen? Like, holy cow. 28 first downs to 28 first downs to 11 first downs for Portland State as well. We held them under another 100 yards, under 100 yards for rushing, which they were doing really well with their running back, Mallory.
So what did you say the stat was on that? Where did we hold them for rushing?
We held them for rushing average total net 93.
Yep. And we were talking last week how they put 350 on NAU plus.
Yeah.
And all these teams, I mean, they were, especially their quarterback who was running all the time. We shut that down. So
and they averaged like 220 something, I think, on a game. So shut them down with that.
That's pretty impressive, I think.
Their quarterback did not look comfortable at all. He did not want to run. He did not want to pass. So I think that's just going to have to copy what we've been doing to quarterbacks. We're just going to have to copy with this week.
Well, that's what going into this week, I think. So something that I've noticed is like the sack game, this game. I feel like it's almost preparing our defense to deal with Mr. Malott and what the hell is his name? Sean
Chambers.
Chambers. I feel like those games are helping our defense prepare for that.
Yeah, they are, but the neighbors just do it so different. I think what they run and stuff like that. I think it's getting us to think about that. It's just they do it in so many different ways that I hope that they pull an Idaho game and they just forget about the run, which I have no clue how. Like that game was totally on their offensive play calling. Yeah. Like I don't know how you're averaging 7 yards a carry and you just stop running the ball.
Yeah,
like I don't understand it.
Yeah. I have some thoughts on that too once we get to that game.
So. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
I got some ideas of how we can stop both those two idiots.
There we go. There we go. And I do believe that Chambers said something along this year about when the MMA guy Sugar Shane was there about. So I think that's probably bulletin board material this week as well. So I can't wait for this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be every year this game. So we look forward to this one. The whole state of Montana does.
Yes. You have any final thoughts on Portland State? Or I'm pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody played very well. Again, like I said, I was glad that we got out of there pretty unscathed. Nice to see so many players get to play in there, and then 56 when we got that big hit. It's kind of like, okay, there's, again, linebacker there's backups to the backups that are out there just playing hard and doing that.
And Husted is a defensive end, and he's from Nebraska, so he's got some talent.
Yeah.
And so, but also just with the line, it was awesome to see McCabe, who we've had on the podcast when he got recruited. So, but it was awesome to him to step in. We also Ken Pamphilov stepped in as well.
And McCade's actually the backup center is who he
is. Yep.
And the nice thing too is hearing AJ talk about him, how he's moving his tail off. And I mean, guys like that, they're just waiting for their opportunity. Not they want them to get hurt, but they're just like, hey, they got to have that next man up mentality and be ready at any time to fill in. And he did a great job filling in.
Exactly. So, even if we don't have Liam, we hope that he rests up and heals from that. But
and hopefully McGinnis is back this week.
Hopefully, I haven't heard anything. So hopefully he's and Gradney as well.
Yeah, and Gradney's been suited up.
He's been suited up.
I'm not sure exactly what the deal is there. I kind of have some inside info on McGinnis, but we're not going to. Yeah, we're not. In case some Cat fans listen to this, we're not going to talk a bit about that.
And then and Fonts as well. Hopefully he heals up because that's
I know he was out. They said that. I haven't heard a thing on him actually. No. I'm not sure what the deal was with Fonts, but hopefully, if there was ever a week to rest, it's last week, and then hopefully he's out there this week. So
we'll rest up and win this game.
With our depth at wide receiver, I mean, if he had just a little bit at all, it's like, go ahead and rest him up for the big one.
Yeah. Well, and Sawyer did an awesome job too. So it was good to see him get out there. He's I think that Portland is pretty close to home for him. So.
That's what I was thinking too. So Oregon, Osmo too, getting all that because he's close to home there too. So
yep. So, so it's the neighbors coming to town.
Yep.
You guys probably knew who they are. We don't need to say what their names are. So let's see what their schedule is like. If you guys don't know who they have played, the game that we know that they played South Dakota State, but they played Utah Tech.
Best game of the year that they played was against South Dakota. The best game of the year that they've played was against South Dakota State.
Oh yeah. So their first game, similar opponent than us, right? Utah Tech, they beat 63-20. They then went to Brookings and they lost 20-16 to the number one team. And
that's the game I was
the team.
That they played them very well, and I think that's the best game that the neighbors have played all year.
Yep.
And I think they've actually haven't played it better. I mean, they lost to Idaho too, but they played way worse there. If they would have played that way against South Dakota, they'd have really gotten crushed.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've matched that since then.
No. Their third game of the year was against Stetson. 57-20.
Was that the Cologne?
That's in Cologne. They played Weber, which now, that game was supposed to be like, oh, this shock and awe of like they beat Weber 40-0. Oh my gosh, this team is amazing. Which now we know Weber's just sucks.
I mean, other than the fact that they beat Idaho this last weekend, I mean,
yeah,
that surprised me. But that when I watched some of that game, because unfortunately my daughter was homesick this weekend, so I was like, we're watching FCS football. But that did not look like the Idaho team that I saw play us or the Cats. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Now, all of a sudden, old 80 started showing up again, and they tried to come back, but we were just had their number that day. So
yeah,
surprised me.
They played Portland State as well, and so that's an interesting one because they only beat Portland State by 16, 38-22.
And that was in the litter box, wasn't it?
It was. It was in the litter box, yeah. And then Cal Poly, they beat 59-19. They beat Sac State 42-30 at Sac State.
What was that against Sac State?
42-30.
Huh, we only let them score 7. Interesting.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And it was at Sac State too. So
interesting.
Interesting, right? Idaho, they lost to Idaho 21-14.
Oh, and we beat them.
We beat them as well.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Some similar opponents here, right? Yeah. NAU, the only one that everyone loves to come on to, is 45-21. I don't know. They didn't play NAU at NAU though, right?
No, they played them in the litter box there.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, and there's some comments that we'll talk about too that I got from people that, I think that loss against NAU helped us.
Oh yeah,
that was like the biggest wake up call, because I mean I know we were thinking it too, like what the hell are we going to do this season? Yeah. It was all right, guys. Either we're gonna put up and take this failure and turn it around and start winning and learn from it, or we can just fold. And they have done the opposite. So
they played Eastern Washington last week, 57-14. Yeah. Eastern Washington,
so they're done playing football. Eastern is.
No,
it's similar to our game against. So here's a little theory I've got. Last year we played Eastern before the Brawl.
Yep.
Beat them 63-7. I was at that game. It was a fun game. It was
snow.
Is
that a snow or is that Cal Poly game?
It was just really cold that game. Okay. There was snow the day before. It was dang cold. We were wearing our ice fishing gear, but beating the hell out of Eastern is always fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost wonder if it didn't give us a little overconfidence going into the Brawl last year, because it was like, oh my God, we just smoked Eastern. Well, the opposite could be happening this week.
Yeah.
The Cats just smoked Eastern. They looked like world beaters last weekend. I mean, they just did everything they want. But I'm telling you right now, that's not the same Eastern team that was playing teams tough this year. Eastern's done playing football for the year. They are just done. They don't care.
No.
Yeah,
and I think that Coach Best is out of there as well. So
that's probably a good thing for them.
He was playing. He was coaching for his job. I think also NAU coach is out there as well. Yeah, so. he was doing the same thing as well, and he hasn't done a good job. So there's going to be some movement around the Big Sky. But if you kind of add that up, guys out there, I did the math for you, so I don't know if you can really believe it, but I did. I have it here, right here. 49 wins. So their opponents, the neighbors' opponents' record is 49-51.
Okay, let me write that down. So their record is 49-51. Okay.
Yep, the opponents.
Okay.
So, ours isn't much different.
Okay.
And so it's 50-50, but at least it's 500, right?
50-50. Okay.
And we have played a better schedule, I believe. Just by looking at it, it might not be the strength of schedule or whatever.
We have 3 ranked wins.
3 ranked wins with another D2 win that, if you want to count that into it, they're ranked. I think they finished like number 3 in the nation
in D2. I mean,
we
won't count it because no one else wants to count it.
But they have to look at it.
Without that, we still have 3 ranked wins.
Exactly.
How many ranked wins do they have?
Oh, they didn't get that South Dakota State win, so nope, can't count that one.
They lost to Idaho.
Sac State.
One.
And so, and I asked Sam Herder this. I think it was a week ago, and I asked him how many top 10 wins, like how many teams have the most. And we had 2, and some other teams had 2 as well. So we were in line for the most top 10 wins. And so the selection committee is going to see that.
Well, we beat the Cats this weekend, and that's 3 top 10 wins. We're the number 2 seed. Like, that's what we're playing. We're not just playing for the Brawl. We're playing for the number 2 seed. There's no way they're going to stick Furman at the number 2 seed.
They better not. Or
after
total freaking bullshit.
And that's why I think you got right now. You got us as 3 coaches in media. You got the Kittens at 4. I mean, I was going back. I don't think we've ever had higher rankings for the Brawl.
No, this is the first in the top 5.
When we went into Bozeman and beat them when they were number 1, I think we were 7.
Yep.
But yeah, as far as top 5, this is the first, and it coming to the Big Sky. I'm so glad that Weber won. Like, I know some people are like, "Oh, I think that might hurt us." I'm like, I don't give a shit about that. Like, I'm glad that Weber won, so that now it comes down to the 2 of us for the Big Sky Conference Championship, and there's no like sharing with Idaho because of some. Or I guess in the end we would have probably came because we would have. But I mean, this way it's outright. It's for the number 2 seed. So I think whoever wins this, whether it's us or them, they gets the number 2 seed.
Yeah, I think you have to. The Furman has not played anybody. Their strength of schedule is like in the top 60s. Like, they have not played anybody.
There's so much riding on this game, and like, I couldn't be more pumped about going to this game. So like, I decided after we lost last year, I was hosting a Grizz Cat satellite party, and I was just pissed because there was a bunch of Cat fans there and stuff. And I was like, "That's it, I'm going next year." It's like, "That's it, I'm going." And then the tickets went on sale way ahead of time before we knew that this would be like this way, and I got tickets to it. And so it's like, man, I feel like it's all just setting up. And now you get a surprise ticket too. It's like the stars are aligning.
Yep. And just to let you Kitten fans that listen to this podcast, the last time that my first Kitten Grizz or Grizz Kitten game, we beat you guys. So just let you guys know that. I'm hoping that the good vibes with that kind of continue. But that game was amazing too as well. So
yeah, I think that's our stadium's gonna be just rocking.
Oh, it's gonna be so loud.
And I cannot freaking wait. Like,
you have to tell me what your watch says.
Oh, so yeah, I got this new Apple Watch, and like, it gets mad when there's lots of like the high decibels, and it'll say like anything over 90, it gets really pissed. And so I have a feeling it's just going to be going off constantly, but I cannot wait for it to sit there and tell me how I'm going deaf because
that's awesome.
I'm screaming at the cats. So
that's awesome. So you guys, let's do some by the numbers here. Sure. Just, Big Sky Conference numbers. I'll go into their defense and then their offense, and then kind of go through like what they're averaging. So they have the number 2. The Kittens have the number 2 scoring defense, the number 2 rushing defense, the number 3 passing defense, the number 3 defensive efficiency, the number 1 sacks. They've had a little bit more sacks than us, and they're 3 in interceptions. So good defense. Offense. They're the number 1 offensive scoring team in the Big Sky. They're number 1 in rushing. They're number 1 in offensive efficiency. They're number 9 in field goals, just to let you know.
Yeah, the field goal kicker. He's like, he should be playing basketball.
Yeah, and then so they put in Casey Kotzman.
Yeah, I think
from Butte. Yeah, and he's 4 of 4. So it's a redshirt freshman.
That's probably who'll be kicking this weekend, be my guess.
So redshirt freshman in a horrible position that's going to be really, really loud. I want them to trust their field goal kicker in this game. So that's what I want. I want them to rely on their field goal kicker. So they're number 1 in punting with 44.2. They've got a good punter, and they're number 1 sacks against. So they protect their quarterback, which that's kind of misleading because they don't throw the ball. So why, like, all they have to do is pass or run block, and they're not going to get sacked. So like that, when I was looking at that. I was like, they shouldn't even be in that conversation. There should be like some type of you have to throw it this many times to actually be involved in this conversation. Yeah. They should not be number one in that key fact. Like, it pisses me off. So on the year, guys, MSU is 43.8 points per game. They're rushing 302 yards a game, 187 passing yards, total of 489. Penalties, they've only been about 51 yards a game. They are holding on to the ball for a little over 30 minutes. Their third down percentage is about 49.51%, so close to 50%. Fourth down percentage is 77. Red zone is freakingly good. 43 of 49, 87%. And they've got 36 of 49, so 73% of those are touchdowns. So we already know pretty much what they're going to do, right? If you don't know, they run a two-headed monster that they have a really good running quarterbacks, right? Tommy Malott, Sean Chambers, right? I can't stand Sean Chambers. I think he's a POS and cocky SOB. So, anyways, Tommy Malott, 57 of 88, 788 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Sean Chambers, 50 of 87, 870 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. My thing on this is I would rather play Malott. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on there. I think Sean Chambers is the more – he just has that dynamic. He does those big plays. He's the big play guy. Tommy's kind of that consistent, fast run type. I think that you get a lot of the bigger plays out of Sean Chambers. And Sean Chambers, I think he's been kind of nursing injuries because last game he played, but the game before that, they didn't really use him very much. Yeah. And it might just be what they're doing, but haven't played them very much. Their running back is a brute out of a transfer out of Wisconsin, Julius Davis. He's number 5 running back in the Big Sky. 90 carries, 611 yards, averaging about 6.8 yards an average. It was awesome. I was watching the Eastern Washington game, and there was on Twitter, he jumped over a guy. Oh, yeah. Well, he tried to jump over like 2 Eastern Washington guys, and they just stuck him up in the air and just threw him down into the ground. I was like, that serves you right, trying to bicycle 2 guys. But it was awesome. Thoughts, Luke? I know I was talking a lot there.
That's all right. So I was just doing a lot of listening. I mean, I think if someone hears all those stats and things you rattled off there's like a lot of number one in this. Yep. I mean, you hear that, and then Chambers and Malott, it's like, oh my gosh, these guys are world beaters, and what are we gonna do? And oh my gosh, and like, no, like I think what an opportunity the Grizz have to shut them down. It constantly seems like that's what we've been having to face. It's like, oh my gosh, Idaho. Oh, and we go in there and we put 17 on them right away. Oh, Sac State. Oh boy, they have this rushing, and they're gonna we don't 7 points. So I say, what an opportunity we have to shut down this narrative that they're such world beaters and so awesome and so great. And as far as Chambers, they got him running like basically North Dakota State's offense, where it's power run to the A gap, and they're just running them up the center, and they've got good linemen. They do. I'll give them that. They got good offensive and defensive linemen. That's where it starts. But I think the way our defense is playing this year, kind of this no name defense sort of thing, where it's like there's no stars, everybody's just doing their job. They're 111th. They'll keep hearing the players talk about that. We do that, we're going to shut them down. Like, there's nothing more than fun to do, especially when your opponent is like number 1 in all these categories, just to shut them down. You said they were averaging 302 yards per game.
Rushing.
Rushing.
Yep.
If we can get that to 200,
I think half or 200,
200 or under, we're winning this damn game. Yeah. Like, that's, I think, the biggest key on this, like you talked about. Yep. The passing game sucks. Malott sucks at passing, so does Chambers. Yep. If we can get them to be one-dimensional and get 2 scores ahead of them, that's going to make them have to throw the ball, and that's just going to work towards us. And it's going to be a long freaking day for them, and it's going to be a great day for the Grizzlies.
Well, and those were passing numbers, guys. Those were their actual passing numbers. I want you to their running numbers. Sean Chambers got 655, and then Tommy has a little less than that because he was hurt a couple games. Yeah, he's got 431 in rushing.
So, and Malott, they don't like to run him up the gut much when he's got the ball. Like that's one thing our defense
to the side.
They love to go to the outside. Yeah. They're relying on his speed because Tommy's fast.
Yeah,
like he is super fast. Dude, his moves. And that's I'll say this. I won't say a bad thing about Tommy Malott. He is a good kid, good Montana kid, and I have utmost respect for that young man. Chambers can pound sand, but Malott, I like that kid. He's got a good head on him, and he's a good football player and plays hard. So I don't wish any ill against him. I want to stop him. I think we can stop him, and I agree with you. I'd almost kind of rather have him out there, because I don't think he's kind of that big play getter like Chambers tries to be. But at the same time, I want Chambers out there so that we can just knock the piss out of him.
Oh, I do too. I can't stand it. He's very cocky, and I
really hope that other people said this too. I hope Sugar Sean shows up is at this
game, dude, that'd be awesome
because he was sure talk a lot of smack after that Ferris State game right to him, and it's like I'd love to see him say that stuff to his face. I know Sugar Sean isn't the biggest guy, but he ain't afraid of nobody.
No, I mean he took it down pretty quick after that too, as well. After he said that,
he took that down real quick.
Yeah. So they've got some wide receivers. Ty McCullough, I think he's out of Colorado State transfer. He's been banged up. A lot of the games he gets banged up. He got banged up pretty good in the Eastern Washington game and kind of rubbing his rib area.
Sure.
He's got 19 receptions for 357 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then Cleavon Thomas has got 23 for 303 and 3 touchdowns. I'm not worried about their passing game. The way that they get you is they run, and then they fake like they're going to run, and they're going to throw it to their tight ends for big gains.
They're play action pass. In fact, that Eastern game, I was trying to watch a little bit of it. And then when I saw Eastern just gave up, I kind of was over it. But I did see they even ran the old Tim Tebow jump pass play with Tom Malott for a touchdown. And so, I mean, that's the stuff they're doing. They're going to run hard play action, hoping that your secondary isn't going to stay home and do their job and going to bite on it real hard. And that's when they're catching with that big play. So we have to play, again, assignment football.
Yep.
Everybody doing their 111th. I mean, really their offense is doing a lot of that kind of, triple option almost kind of crap is what they're doing. A lot of misdirection and a
lot of movement.
A lot of movement snap. And so when you go against those teams, that's really where you got to play ultimate assignment football.
Yeah.
And they're going to get some of their yards and stuff, but the key is doing that, bend but not break. Even if they get those plays, we got to then stuff them and get them stopped.
Yep. Their tight ends, they're good tight ends. Trenton Pickering, 15 receptions, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Derek Snell, their tight end / fullback, has been out since the 14th of October. Nursing an injury. I don't think he's going to be back for this one as well. So, they've got a lot of great guys on defense too. And so Nolan Askelson, sorry, 67 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1 interception. McCabe O'Reilly, and then you've got Rylan Ort. You've got the 3-headed monster in their defensive line, and Brody Grebe and Sebastian Valdez and Ben Seymour, which account for 16 and a half, 17 sacks right there between those 3 guys.
Yeah.
So their defensive line is really good.
Yeah, they're
getting a lot of pressure from their defensive line.
They do a good job getting off their blocks and stuff. So I mean, the good thing is we got a dang good offensive line. They've just our O-line keeps playing better, and the bigger splits we've been running have been working well. But our tight ends are very physical too, and so we'll see a lot of their help too, along with those guys. The one guy in defense that I got a lot of respect for is number 41. I think that's their 37 or whatever. I think that's Fitzgerald.
Okay,
yeah. think it's his uncle played with me, and I mean that's a good football family and stuff. And that kid plays the right way and stuff. So I mean I'll give props to him and stuff, but I really hope we can shut him down too and just open those holes. And I mean that's the one thing I love about our run game is that not just our offensive line, you're seeing our receivers downfield blocking constantly. I mean it's I know people were probably worried after last year what happened. This is a totally different football team that we have. The mentality going into it's way different. I mean, I'll admit I was overconfident last year.
Yeah.
Partially because I just got back home from going to that Eastern game where I was like, man, we can't do anything wrong. And I'm really hoping that the Cats have that same kind of overconfidence that maybe we had last year coming into this. Like, I have a feeling that they feel like they're like disrespected right now because they're one below us, and they feel like they should be the number 2 team in the nation above both us and Furman, and that the Grizz are nothing, that we should be. They're like that one jackass that had us at 17. That's what these Cat fans think.
Yeah.
They think we're just lucky that we're here. It's like, oh, you were lucky to beat Idaho and lucky to beat SAC, and it's just you're still that same team that lost to NAU. I mean, that's what they think of us. So I want nothing more than to shut up every one of these freaking Cat fans out there.
I just want to pound
the pits out of them and make them all walk out in the third quarter. Those that were fortunate enough to spend $1,000 a ticket to come to this game.
Well, and a lot of this is different, like you said, with the running game. We're doing so many different things. Like with the play action, they bid us on play action last year a couple times for big passing plays over the middle. That's probably not going to happen.
No, I don't think it will
because we're not going to bite. We don't have a safety, and Robbie, he's a great player, but he was basically just going to come down all the time, no matter what.
He was playing that position so differently. Our whole backfield. The zone defense and stuff that we're running that Tim has us and Ronnie has us running, it's just totally different. Again, people keep talking about and someone brought it up at QB Club, like, oh, we're going to switch up this 3-man front. If you know football, we're running a 4-man front out there a lot. It's just that one of our guys is standing. Watch other colleges and stuff that play the 4-3. A lot of times that one defensive end, he can go into a 2-point or a 3-point stance, and we're doing that same type of thing. And so it's our base is the 3-3-5, but watch, if you pay attention, we're doing these other formations and stuff, and it really kind of throws the offenses off. They're not sure which way we're going to do it, which way it's going to go, and so it's really beneficial for us.
Well, and I really do think that's something that probably Cat fans aren't really knowledgeable in, and they're probably going to be a little cocky about that, as well as this team is totally different. If you really want to be honest with yourself, this team is totally different from that NAU game. It is a totally different defense than what you saw in Los Angeles. I think we're going to do a whole lot better. Do I think and we can get to this farther in the pod, but it's going to be a really good game. We're going to have to play our best to all 4 quarters.
I agree.
We have to put a full game together in this game to be able to beat this team.
We can't afford to have a quarter left off or anything like that.
No,
we have to. Nope. This is the game we got to play our complete game, because really, these are. I think flip them however you want. The Grizz and the Cats are 2 of the best teams in the nation, behind South Dakota. South Dakota State is this other level above here, and they've earned it. They are. They're just that. They're better. Right after that, it's us. It's the 2 Montana schools, and how fortunate are we to be able to see this kind of battle this Saturday, where we have. I mean, I wouldn't want it either way. It's like I like beating the piss out of the Cats, but how cool was it that year when they were number 1? We went at 7. We beat the shit out of them there on the road in Los Angeles. So let's bring them into Grizz. 2 of the highest ranks we ever see. I mean, this is one of the biggest brawls ever. I think it's the 122nd meeting.
122nd,
beat the crap out of them in our house. I mean, I think it's going to be close, but I'd want nothing more if we could just demolish them, and beat them by 30.
And I think game day, they should have came to Missoula, but that's
they're going to James.
They're going to James Madison for the 3rd time or something like that. That's
that game. I mean, I think James Madison's undefeated.
They're not gonna make it into the.
Yeah,
they're gonna make maybe a bowl game. That's
they're gonna get a bowl game. They might get a higher bowl game, but that's
Yeah.
it. It's like, I don't know. I think maybe those guys got a little cold last year. We're like worried about it. I mean, the sad thing is, it's like it'd be so perfect weather this year,
yeah.
and
Yep.
like it would have been just awesome. I mean, and it just lined up perfectly, and wah wah wah. You know, good
Yep.
riddance. You know, like I'm almost kind of glad too, because we don't need that distraction. Like it's going to be so much fun. They're missing out, and we're going to be there to have a blast watching our boys take it to the kiddies.
One of these days, what we need to do is we need to go. Like, I don't know how you do this, but you'd have to probably get like a permit. But we should do like a podcast before the game. And I don't know if you can with how many, they have their own podcast, radio and whatever. Yeah. But that would be so cool.
I know a few guys that we could probably make sure it's okay and get the okay on.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be cool as hell. We should line that up next year and do like a live pod or something right there.
That would be awesome.
That'd be fun. I know our buddies over there in the Grizz fan pod have talked about doing that. And that would be.
Heck, we should just see if they want to do one together.
Yeah, do one together, one big old pod or something. Because that would be. Yeah. We could do it in like Brent's tailgate or something.
There you go. So I think that this is going to be a game that I think it is going to be a top game no matter what, right? 122nd top 5 showdown, and there has never been a game where it's been, hey, us for the Big Sky Conference title, which that means a whole lot more to me. I don't care about the seed. I would love to have home field throughout the playoffs, but I want a freaking Big Sky title. I want one, and I know the players want it too. But we haven't had one since what, 2011, 2010?
Yeah, 2011. Well, I hope that the staff, and I'm sure they're telling us, if you win the Big Sky Conference Championship, you get a ring.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fortunate. I've got 2 Big Sky Conference Championship rings and 1 national championship ring. Like, I remember when we won it when I was a freshman, I was like, we get rings? I didn't even realize it. And the rest of the guys were like, yeah, I've already got. And they're like, I've already got like 3, because it was back then, the late 90s, early 2000s. It was just like, that's all we did was win Big Sky Conference Championship.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so long. It's like, man, go get that ring. Exactly. And I hope that they're telling those guys that, because it's like, like there's nothing like getting those rings and stuff, getting fitted for them. And man, that would just be so awesome to just beat the crap out of them and get the Big Sky Conference Championship and the number 2 seed. I was like, I've already thought about that too. I got to figure out where I'm going to be at to watch the selection show at 10:30 Mountain Time on Sunday, because I'm like, I think I got to check out of the hotel by 11. So.
Yeah, and I'll probably be on the road.
I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe I should go to the press box or something before
you go
down and just go watch it there or something.
There you go. I'll have to pull off into some town and see if I can watch it. Guys, and if you don't know, rankings, everything like that, you will be after this game. They'll do a Sunday selection show. Would they call it a selection show?
Selection show on Sunday at 10. I think it's on ESPN2 or ESPNU.
Yeah.
One of the 2 ESPN channels, not the main one, but either 2 or U. It's usually on ESPNU. And
it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock.
No matter what happens, we're going to get some type of, I think we've done enough where we'll get a seed. I think that Bozeman will get a seed too. But whoever wins this game is going to get the number 2 seed, which is what we want, because that puts us on the opposite side of the bracket of the Jacks.
That's something to say.
Because if we're going to play them, I'd rather face them in Frisco than in Brookings.
Yeah.
Even though that works out for me to go to Brookings and all that stuff. But I'd rather play them down in Frisco and have to go see them down there. But that's where we want to be, is on that other side of the bracket. So,
well, and then you get, the second on their side of the bracket, you get home field throughout the playoffs.
That's the other thing, home field through the playoffs, and that's
huge. Which we haven't had that for what, since probably 2010, 2011 as well.
Not for a long time.
So, if we lose this game, let's say we lose it, I wouldn't expect that we would fall out of the top 8 seed. I would say I think probably looking at 5, 6, maybe 7 at the most.
If that happened, and it's not going to happen. If it happened, I would think 6, 7 seed at the worst.
Yeah, and I think if you lose a top 5 showdown and it's close, let's say it's a field goal.
Yeah,
Do you
We
say,
could
hey,
have a 5 seed.
5 seed? I would even
Maybe even a
say
4.
4.
Yeah,
Like that.
possible. It's possible.
I'd rather have the 3 seed than the 4 seed, but that's just me.
Yeah. 4 seed puts you over on the Jack side of the bracket too.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm going to ask you is, so we beat the Cats. Well, then all of a sudden they have 3 FCS losses. Do they still get a seed then? I mean, I would assume they do.
I would
that
assume
could
that
put
they
them
would.
down to like a 7 or 8 seed. But I have heard some talk that if they lose, it could bump them where they're playing on Thanksgiving weekend.
Really?
Just because of the fact that they have 3 FCS losses. It depends on how everybody else. You got teams like Furman and other teams that, it depends on how the committee looks at it. So it could get interesting for them. So that's why, I mean, this game's huge on both sides.
Yeah, but one of their losses too is the number 1 seed. I wouldn't think that they would probably.
You're right, but I mean, you never know with the committee, especially how other things turn out and stuff. I think it's less likely now that Idaho had that other loss to Weber, for that to happen. But they'll probably get that a lower seed. But again, the thing is both teams have a ton to play for this weekend. They're both going to be fired up and ready to go, and it's going to be some fun football to watch.
I bet you money on the line that if they don't get the seed that they want, they blame Kent Haslam.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Even though
he's the selection committee chair.
He's the chair, and he's the Big Sky representative. But what people get messed up is like he has nothing to do with the Big Sky at all. Like they can ask him questions and stuff, but he leaves the room when they talk about the Big Sky. Same with all those other commissioners and stuff. Whatever school that they represent, they're not even in there for their conference when it's getting talked about.
Well, I think it's the conference. He leaves for his school. I think he's there for the conference though.
No, he's he had a thing with Riley this year. He's like in charge of the SoCon, and one other one is where he gets part of. So he watches a lot of their games. Games and stuff. So he just gets to answer questions on the Big Sky. He can't actually because there could be a bias there, even on the other teams. He can't even vote on that side. Same with those other ones. That's how they kind of keep it fair. Yeah. Like you can't, because you could cheat, you could be like, oh yeah, they suck because you don't like him. But so that's how they make it fair there. So I mean, but yeah, those people are going to say what they want to say and stuff if that happens. But whatever, they're wrong.
So I've got some keys here for the game, and you tell me.
I have 2 as well.
You got 2 as well? Okay. Yeah. You want to go like back and forth?
Sure.
All right. So my number 1 is we have to get off blocks. So the one thing that we did not do last year in Los Angeles is we did not get off blocks well enough. And I say if we get off blocks, our wide receivers get off the blocks from the sides and get Malat to go in the middle, I think that we will stop this offensive juggernaut of the rushing, and we'll cut their rushing in half if we can get off blocks. If we can't, it's going to be hard. They're going to gash us just because of how well they do it. But that's one key that we have to do that. We have to do that this year.
Yeah. So mine's close to yours. It's on defense. You have to do your assignment and not over pursue. Yep. So if we do that and we can stuff Sean Chambers, that's going to make them more one-dimensional, where they're probably going to rely more on Malat, which I think will benefit us.
Yeah. My next one is we got to win in the trenches, right? We've got to pound them into the dirt, their defensive line especially, and really make sure that our offense is running. Because I feel what we're going to do is we're just going to play their game and we're going to run it. We're going to run it and run it and run it. And hopefully we get the ball first and we score first, and we put that pressure on them as well. So we've got to win in the trenches this week and just pound them.
Well, I'm going to stick on defense here still. The other thing I want to say is, along with my, do your 111th, when it comes to Malat, we got to keep the edge. So we can't have anybody like overcommitting or letting, him break contain. We got to keep that edge so we can keep him contained too. And by doing that, those two things with Chambers and Malat, if we can limit their running ability, that's going to make them have to throw the ball. And I think it's the last thing they want to do. And that's going to help us a lot if we can make them more one-dimensional. The other thing with that on the flip side, like you were talking on offense, dominate the line of the scrimmage, be able to run the ball, which will open up our play action because they can be. I mean, everybody's gonna be juiced up for this game. So if we can get them to overcommit, kind of like what happened two years ago when Junior Bergen had that big play over Troy Anderson, same type of thing where we can make these big plays by them overcommitting. So that's what I'm hoping we're going to do. Because last year I feel like we were a little too juiced up and overcommitting, and that's what really, got us in the wrong lanes and just opened things up. We got to do our jobs this weekend.
Yep. Kind of off what you were going to say is disrupting the backfield with the quarterback, just making sure their life is a misery back there. If we can get pressure on them and make sure that we win the trenches, this team doesn't lose the turnover battle very often. If we can swing that in our favor, that's going to help us tremendously. It cuts their ability to have the ball and to kind of drain the clock down. And it also puts them in a position where they're going to have to throw it as well and have to come from behind.
Yeah, if we could get a few turnovers, I mean, that just gives us extra possessions on offense and cuts, like you said, cuts theirs. I mean, that's huge. Anytime you win the turnover battle, I mean, you're usually going to win the game.
Yeah.
So I also am interested to see what our receivers do. I feel like we're getting separation and stuff, and we could definitely, take advantage with our receivers that we have. So I don't know what we're gonna do, and I think us playing Ayat again this last week kind of was here, what are we gonna do? You don't know, sort of thing. I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, obviously McDowell's gonna start, and we're gonna play him, but I mean, personally, I don't think we're going to see much Ayat. I think it's going to be a lot of McDowell is what we're going to see out there.
But I do think that there's going to be something thrown in there that they're not going to be expecting, that Bobby has been keeping close to his chest this whole year, and he's going to unleash it. I think he always does that. But I think that you might see Ayat in a couple instances, but I think it's going to be McDowell.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think there's some stuff that him and Pease are holding back.
Yeah.
And we're going to see, I mean, Bobby hates the Cats more than.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I do the same thing. I won't stay in Bozeman. I won't get gassed. The only thing I'll do is stop to use the rest stop to take a piss. So, the team feels the same way. And like, there's some payback, we've said this earlier this year. This is kind of the revenge tour. And we took care of business in Idaho. We took care of business in Sac State. Well, there's one more hanging out there.
One more stop.
We need to, get our revenge on, and that's this weekend. And I'm pumped to be there in person.
Me too, man. Me too. I can't wait. It can't get here soon enough.
No. Shit, no, it's sorry, it's gonna be so freaking awesome. I'm getting all fired up over here. It's like, gosh,
it's okay. It's okay. It's explicit anyway. This podcast.
I usually try to keep my language pretty good. That one slipped out. Sorry.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. It's okay. We're okay, man.
We're gonna feed the children this weekend.
You want to do questions, man? Are you good?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do questions first.
Sure.
So let me get one real fast here. Shay asked a question from Georgia. Whoops, they have the wrong one here. Let's see here. Sorry. Yep, had the wrong one. Here we go. So he was just saying he feels like that our team actually should be undefeated, but he said maybe that loss is exactly what we needed against NAU. And I agree with him. Like, sometimes, like, here's a good example. 85 Bears were just destroying I'm having to be a Bears fan. They were destroying everybody. They go into Miami, get that loss. If you listen to those guys, they say that's exactly what our team needed, was that loss to wake us up. Well, I think that NAU game, I think we went in after seeing NAU destroy Utah Tech. We're like, oh, we got this. We just have to show up. And boy, did we learn something that game. And I think that's exactly what the team did. Learn from it. Our coaches learned from it, because all of a sudden we started getting an offensive identity, a defensive identity. And since then, we've just started piling on, getting better and better and better. And like the best Bobby teams we've seen out there, we're playing our best football in November. So I think that's exactly what we needed. And it's just made us, this team, into who they are.
Yeah, I think so too. Every team is going to have to face some adversity, and I think that was our adversity, and it kind of got things out in the air where I think some players were able to voice their opinions and kind of take control and kind of be leaders on the team and kind of make sure that they shape this team the way that they want it to. And so, yeah, I totally think that it better suited us. And if you look at it and say, hey, you could, win this game and probably not develop your team in the way that you would want to make a run, I think you take that loss every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's like it was like you said, adversity. Sometimes you got to get smashed to the ground so you know how to get back up and
exactly
yourself off and win. It was our Rocky Balboa moment.
One step at a time, one punch at a time, right?
Yep, exactly.
That's right.
So,
was there a question on that one?
Yeah, that was it from Shay.
Okay.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
And this one I was thrown off a little bit by. I was like, man, I didn't know this. I had to do a little research. So, a good friend of mine, Brett Heidel, throughout this question, he said, when and why did the fight song line change from "She'll shoot her back" around the 4-man line to "We'll shoot our back" around the 4-man's line? He said he just noticed it this year. So I did a little research here. So I'm just going to read this.
Yeah.
So the lyrics back when the fight song originally came out, were different from what players and fans sing today. It was "Old Montana's Out for a Victory" instead of "Good Old Grizzlies Out for a Victory" in the first stanza. And instead of "We'll shoot our backs" around the 4-man's line, it was "She'll shoot her backs" around the 4-man line. The song attributed by Richard Dick Howell, who studied law at the University of Montana. And so I started researching more, like, when did it change? So Up with Montana Boys was copyrighted back in 1929 by the Associated Students of UM. Right here.
There you go.
It happens to be the ASUM, this shirt, who I got this shirt from. So the lyrics were the good, "Old Montana's Out for a Victory," and instead of "Good Old Grizzlies," and "She'll shoot her back," rather than said "will." I tried figuring out when they changed it, and I couldn't find it. Like, I was looking everywhere. So if anybody knows when they changed the "wheel" to "she'll," like the "Good Old Grizzlies," that was changed like back in the 30s or something, but the "she'll" to "wheel," I'm not sure when that was changed. Like, I've always known it as "we'll shoot our backs." I don't remember the "she'll." And then like a couple years ago, I actually bought a poster that someone made with like wood and stuff for the fight song.
Yeah.
And it says "We'll shoot our backs around the 4-man's line." So I'm not sure when that changed. I don't know if a lot of people know that. Like, I had no clue until my buddy Brett brought that up to my attention. So if anybody knows out there, please, like, shoot us a Twitter, a message us somehow. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I was doing a bunch of research. I was looking all over the Google machine and stuff, and I couldn't find like when exactly it changed, like what year or anything like that. But,
and you found out that the 30s it changed from to "Good Old Grizzlies" from what?
Yeah, like it was "Old Montana." 1929 is when they changed it from "Old Montana's Out for a Victory" to "Good Old Grizzlies." But it doesn't say when they changed the "She'll shoot her backs" to "We'll shoot our backs."
And
I looked all over the darn place, and I just could not find it.
That's interesting.
So Up with Montana was penned for the 21st Grizz Bobcat game, which the Griz won 15-5. Little more history about Up with Montana. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's a good question.
Yeah, little trivia there. So
yeah. Wow.
Anyway, so if anybody knows when the second part changed that Brett asked about, please let us know, because I'm sure someone knows out there. It's somewhere deep in the archives, but yeah,
that's cool.
Very cool question. Thanks for asking.
Exactly. We've got another one on here on Twitter. M Thorich, Ford61 at Ford61 Tom. I'm still in awe of the offense. Can you think of a more balanced attack that the Grizz have had?
Boy, not in a long time.
Yeah, I've like balanced is the key word there.
Yeah.
Like we're pretty balanced right now, just because it depends on what you word balance. So like yardage wise, yeah, we're pretty balanced. Like carry wise, though, we're running a lot, right?
Yeah.
And we're not passing as much. So if you look at yardage wise, yeah, we are. I would probably say probably in the 2000s that those
Yeah.
teams with
This
Reynolds were pretty balanced, I would think.
and this feels a lot more like the traditional Bobby ball that people would call it, where it's like
Yeah.
run first, the run sets up the pass sort of thing. And I mean, and why wouldn't we be? I mean, we've
Yeah.
got these running backs. Our running back stable is just loaded. I mean, I guarantee you, 3/4 of the teams in the Big Sky, Harris and um, um,
Childs.
Childs, thank you,
Yep.
would be starting for them.
Oh yeah,
You
definitely.
and they're
Definitely.
our backups. So
Yep.
it's, I mean, we're fortunate to have them, and I think we're also fortunate that the offensive line is totally doing the old Dola and out there just dominating and opening up holes. That's the one thing I want to say is like you watch our team play, and they are having fun playing
Yeah,
together.
they are.
These guys are having a good freaking time, and that stuff is contagious. When you're having fun and playing ball, boy, things just start going right for you.
Well, just the demeanor too. It's not
Mhm.
it's totally changed,
Yeah,
and so I do appreciate that the coaching staff kind of letting them play and not being so strict on what they do and stuff like that. So
yeah.
that's always nice to see.
They're all having fun out there, and Clifton is just, I mean, he's a great leader for this team, and
Yeah.
he's chill, and like people were kind of giving him a hard time, about this, well, the brawl or whatever they call it this weekend. You know, he's just like as cool as a cucumber, man. Like he's like, just bring up the next game. I got this. That's what I love. He's just like next man up mentality. Like, okay,
Yep.
who do we got next? Fine, let's go play
Yep.
ball. Love it.
Eric at the Eric Witz. What postseason acquisition has been the most important this season? Landing Clifton or promoting Bradford to DC?
Ooh.
Do you have? I think it is. It's two things. I think it's Bradford to DC, but also bringing in Hauk and having them mentor each other and kind of throwing different things off of each other. I think landing Clifton that's huge, but I think that and I was talking to this to a friend and possibly maybe even you, Luke, is if Clifton's not here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know now that Ayat was the best quarterback
Yeah.
coming in this summer and in the fall. So would that have been throwing in would they have thrown a freshman in to that position? I think they would have thrown Ayat in a little bit sooner and went with him. Would that have meant worse? Would that have meant better? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of hard to kind of assume. I would think that we'd probably be in the same predicament, but maybe a little bit different. Our play would be a little bit different. I think that the changes made on defense have changed how we do things and have it's a totally different defense. So these teams are thinking that they're going to be playing this overcompensating defense where they're going to be, having wide open pass plays, and it's not that way. And so it's guessing. They're having to guess. So I would say the defense coordinator.
So I'm going to disagree. Like,
Okay.
here's the reason why. So I think Clifton's bigger because of the fact the way he's been able to lead our team and stuff.
Okay.
It's hard to find leadership like that. Where like I feel like Ronnie. I'm not saying anything against Ronnie and Tim. Like if that doesn't happen though, I still feel like we can put a pretty dang good with Bobby's connection defensive coordinator in there, besides like Bear and stuff.
Yeah.
Or even if let's say we're saying we kept Coach Bear and didn't have Ronnie or something, I still think like the defense would figure it out and be maybe not as good as they are right now, but still be pretty good. Where like I feel like Clifton, ever since that Idaho State game, he grabbed that leadership position and said, "All right, follow me. We're doing this." And so
Yeah.
that's what I think. I think he's had the bigger impact, like on our offense. where I think like a coach's impact is huge and stuff, but like it could have been Tim Houck as the defensive coordinator if Ronnie Bradford was there. I mean, there's so many other things I think that could have worked out. But again, like to your point just a second ago, it's really hard to compare the two because it's just totally different.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we needed someone like Clifton to be there to take those reins because I mean, who knows where we would have been if like we had to have Vidlac as our starter and then I ought to come up. Because I just didn't feel like we were getting that leadership out of him that Clifton all of a sudden brought and kind of went like, let's go do this. So I don't know, because like we said at the beginning of the year, the offense was so different, it seemed like when Vidlac was out there versus Clifton.
Yeah.
And I mean, notoriously, Bobby doesn't like to play freshmen. So how long would it have taken? I don't know. It's just those hypotheticals. But for me, I'll take the Clifton one.
Well, one thing I would throw out on this one, and we're going back and forth, is with these revenge tour, right? Revenge tour games. I don't think without the defensive coordinator change and without Tim Houck there, we would have gotten by these revenge games. Yeah. I really don't think we would.
If Ronnie wasn't the DC, maybe Tim would have been. So
yeah, but the fact that they're working together though, like you can't like two heads are better than one, and to have that type of back and forth, like
I think they complement each other extremely well, like extremely well. And I'm just so glad that we have like offensive production now too. Like it seemed like last year we were relying so much like, okay, defense, you got to pitch shutouts, and we're hoping the offense can do something. I mean, it was just like between the Sack game and that Weber game last year, there was just as a defensive, like I love defense so much. Watching those games, just like trying to rely on the defense to like hold up. It's like it's so refreshing this year to have offensive production and let the defense rest when they come out, man. They are 100% and just wreaking havoc out there. So,
well, the one thing that has changed from last year to this year is our defense coming into this game isn't spent.
No, they're not.
Like our defense is in a good position where, you've got their bumps and bruises, but they're not
up. We seem pretty healthy, like pretty healthy.
Yeah. So, we've had guys get hurt and come back. And so that's something that's huge too, as well as we haven't had those catastrophic injuries. And, the neighbors down the way that they've had those injuries.
Yeah, they've had, I know a friend of mine's a fan of theirs, and he said that they're pretty beat up right now.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting on Saturday. That was a great question though. Appreciate that question. Yeah. Nice to think about those hypotheticals a little bit.
Exactly. We've got some on eGriz here. SoCal Surfer. Do you think the Griz use the 3-3-5 this game or go to the 5-man front? I feel the Griz chemistry is allowing the team to peak in November. We are playing our best ball right now. Do you agree? And I think we kind of went through this as well.
Well, I don't think we're not.
No.
Like I said, it's like we run a 4-man front at times. It's just we disguise it with the 3-man where we're bringing up that. I mean, Riley Wilson plays almost that defensive end position and stuff. So I don't. We're not gonna put 5 down there. That's one thing about the Cats. Watching them on defense too, they love to put 8 in the box. So I mean, their goal, because they know we like running the ball, is they start with 7 and then they like to rotate someone in, but their goal is going to try to put 8 in the box and shut our run down. But the more we can get them to commit to doing that is when we can play action them and get a huge play over the top. So.
Well, and I don't think we're ever going to be playing a 5-man front. First of all, we don't have the guys to be able to have 2 defensive tackles to do that. If we were to play a 5-man front, it would be like what you're saying, Luke, is bringing those linebackers, and it's not going to be a traditional 5-man front or 4-man front. It's going to be different. So, and I totally agree with you, Luke, that we have been playing that 4-man front all year, and either on the side or the left side or the right side, depending on the play.
Against the Cats, like it actually can do well. Last year we didn't stay home. We didn't do our jobs. If everybody stays home and gets their reads, they'll get their fits properly and stop this run. That's why, like I was saying, like I think it's been beneficial that we've played teams like Sac and now Portland State, just to kind of get that feel of like, okay, the quarterback's going to be their main runner and stuff. And they always have these running backs, and we got to keep our lanes so we can shut these runs down. And we've been doing that. So I think that's helping us towards this ultimate goal of beating the Cats and stopping their run game.
Well, and if our defensive backs can get off the blocks with their wide receivers too, I think that's going to help with stopping Milan as well. So
yeah, I agree. We got to hold that edge big time, and just, I mean, it's going to be a big, we hear do your 111th. That's if they do that this weekend, we'll stop them.
Yep, 111th. So also he said, do you agree that we're playing our best in November? I totally agree with you with that. That's one of the things that has been so different than past years is that we've kind of built this thing up, where going back to the NAU is Bobby said, this team is not playing.
We're on that, our arrows pointed up, we're on that upward trajectory right now.
Exactly.
And we're playing better and better each game, it feels like.
Yep. Putter, it seems that Cliff is getting more comfortable in the offense and his reads are coming easier for him. With the quality of MSU's front and speed they have at the linebacker spot, do you think we will be able to make decisions fast enough to be effective on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. Like, one thing about Clifton, like he does make quick reads. He may not make all the reads, but he'll make a quick read. And I think part of that is like P's setting up the right place for him to make those quick reads.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I am excited to see, and I hope he gets the chance, I hope we get to see Clifton running the ball, open field, and stiff arming some of them freaking linebackers, putting them down on the ground. How fired up is the team going to get? And freaking that stadium, if we see Clifton come around and just freaking stiff arm one of these cat freaking linebackers, just boom, right in his place. Like, that excites the heck out of me.
Well, and I don't think they've had Chambers, and he's a big guy too, but man, McDowell's so big, 6'3", 230.
He's a beast out there.
For a quarterback. It's just so
watching him like against Portland State, they didn't have nothing to do with him. They were just like, I'm gonna hit that guy. Freaking like they're getting out of his way, and like that's just it. Like sometimes there's that play in the game that can just churn the momentum. And I feel like if we can get Clifton running and he just trucks one of those guys from MSU, puts him on his back, and it's just like over him, holy cow, that offense is going to erupt. The defense is going to be fired up. The stadium is going to be going. And then it's like good luck from there because you get that momentum going, and it's like, watch out.
Yep. Question here, Copper Griz. Any guesses on the turnover margin for Grizz Cat? Both teams are pretty darn good holding on to the ball, but this game, all bets are off.
I agree. We've done a good job of holding the ball, and Clifton's done a good job protecting the ball too, for the most part.
And the turnover margin, I think we kind of said, we said this in the pod, is that the neighbors do not turn over the ball very much because they run, so they don't fumble a lot either. I think that that's going to be one of the keys of the game is who's going to win that turnover margin. It might not be, 2 or 3 picks or
something right now.
It might be one fumble.
We're going to get 2 turnovers in this game.
2 turnovers. Okay.
And we're going to get 2.
Okay.
We're going to get 2 after them.
I do think that
put it down on my little piece of paper. We're getting 2
turnovers. I'm writing it down. Okay. I think it's going to be important to win that turnover margin no matter what. So his other question here is how important a role are the defensive ends going to play in this game for the Griz?
Okay.
And I think it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the former defensive lineman, and I know I played a little bit of defensive end back in my day. When you're playing a running team, you've got to keep that edge.
Yeah, that's going to be the key. That's exactly what I was about to say. Is we keep saying it. We got to, keep contained, keep the edge, because that's where, like, especially when Lott's in there, they like to bust them to the outside. And so our defensive end, so in this case, I talk about this 4-man front that we were going to kind of like run.
Yep.
It's Riley Wilson, whoever's playing that linebacker end, they got to keep the edge and contain it and not let him get out there. And then, the old deep is the deepest man. And then
Harris
or Harris, whoever's on that other side, they've got to do it too, do the same. So if we can keep him contained and bring him back into our linebackers, it's gonna be a long day for old touchdown Thomas there.
Yep.
So
I think so as well. I think that's gonna be a key fact. And then he kind of asked about the 3-3-5 as well, but we've already answered that.
Sure.
But yeah, we've already the defensive end position is going to be a key in this game, no matter what of how they're running it.
Our D end and that hybrid D end position that both Jenna Carroll and Wilson like to play, those are going to be key in there because we know Gubbs is going to do his job. Like,
oh yeah, no matter what,
it's the man child out there, beast mode, freaking owning guys. So we don't have to worry about him. It's just those guys doing their assignment. And like we talked earlier, Wilson just keeps getting better each week too.
Yep. He's
so
only a sophomore.
Exciting to see what he does this weekend. And this will be his first rivalry game. We got a lot of first rivalry games this weekend for people. So yeah.
What was your thought on how McDowell handled that question after the PSU game?
Well, that's what I was saying. I loved it. Like he's like the Brawl or whatever they call it. Like he's as cool as a cucumber. Like who cares?
It's so funny. I loved it.
I loved it. It's like whatever they, he's she's like, yeah, no big deal. Bring on the next opponent. Who do I got to beat next? I noticed on Twitter he has this hashtag keep stacking. Stacking the wins, baby.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
And it's cool that he's actually on Twitter. He doesn't respond to too many, and I think all the Grizz players are like that too. So sometimes they will, but
he's responded to me a couple of times, and he's a good kid. Like that, he's a good leader, and I appreciate him.
Yeah,
very much so.
All right, man. Well, that's all the questions I had. Did you have any more questions?
I've got one more thing for you. I wanted to make sure we covered.
Oh, wait, the verses?
People are nope, something else. I shared.
Okay.
So, Sportsbet Montana.
Yes.
Right now, the first line that came out, they actually have Montana State favored by 3.5 points on the weekend. The over/under at the moment is 56.5. So
the over/under is how many?
56.5. So currently, my score is the under, barely. So
I'm taking the under on that one.
Yeah, I think the under too. Unless, of course, we put 55 on them, then that's just fine. So
I don't care as long as
But yeah, I take the under at the moment is what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man. Well,
I just wanted to make sure because that was out early this week.
Yeah.
So, okay, so. We already got to the polls. Coaches poll were 3, media poll were 3. Versus app, we continue to be 3 as well. We've been 3 in the versus app for quite a while, 3 or 4. So I ran the simulation. I hated it, but I've been hating it all year because they've been picking against this all year. They picked this against this versus Davis. They picked against this versus Idaho. They picked against this versus Sac State. So in a way, I'm kind of glad the versus app picked against us again. They have the Cats winning 29-20.
29-20. Okay.
29-20. So that's what the stupid versus app has. They've been wrong a lot this year. So, like I said, in a way, I'm glad that dumb app is picked against us again. Bring it on. So my score.
Yes.
Here's what I got.
Okay.
I've been wishy-washy about the cat side of it because a lot of me thinks that I'm giving the Cats too many points here. But they're a good team. So I have the Grizz winning 31-24.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm taking the under, but barely.
Okay. 31-24?
Yep. Grizz 31, right. Kitties 24.
Okay. All right. I got 24-21 Grizz.
24-21. So a little bit closer. A little bit closer.
Yeah. I think it's going to come down. In all these games, special teams, there's going to be a special teams play that's going to come into effect, either, switching field position in the punting game. I don't agree.
So I wanted to change my cat score to 23 at one point because I was like, the way their kickers been missing field goals and P8 and stuff. I was like, ooh, I should do that. But I was like, nope, I wrote it down and keep it. That's what I wrote down earlier today. Usually what it'll do is like sometime in the middle of the day I'm working and stuff at my home office on Mondays. And I've got tons of meetings on Mondays, and all of a sudden it'll pop in my head. I'm like, okay, this is my score. And I just write it down on this little piece of paper over here. So I'm sticking with it. 31-20. I like your score, 24-21. Either one of those, I'd be pleasantly happy with.
I was wanting to change it to 24-20, just because then it would be over that 3.5.
Yeah.
And so, but no, I kept it 24-21.
Yeah.
So It doesn't matter. I don't care this game as long as we win.
As long as
That's
we
all.
win,
I don't care.
all that matters. As long as we win.
I'll owe you a
Um,
beer.
like I would love nothing more than us to like. The good thing is like the Grizz keep proving us wrong a lot of these weeks. Like I look
Yeah.
back at the Sac State game, 31-24, and they come in there and they put holding 7 points.
Yeah.
Our defense has been just like stacking up these offenses that should be putting up lots of points, and we're shutting them down.
Yep.
I mean, Portland State put up points against the Cats. Sac put up points. So, I think it's our defense really is what we need this weekend is them to just shut them down. If we do that, oh boy, I'm not too worried about our offense. I think our offense can get it done. It's the defense. So,
well, and you look at since the NAU loss, right? There's only been one team to score over 23 points.
Yeah.
And that was, UC Davis that scored 23. And then Idaho scored 21, which that was a crazy game, back and forth game.
That's again why I don't like my 24 score. I'm like, God, that feels high. Like I think it could be down in that 17s. Like I feel like that over under they put out is high.
It is very high.
It feels high.
Yeah.
Especially
I'd even see it like 21-14 or something like that. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, I agree. It could be closer to kind of that score we saw over in Brookings this year. But either way, we're just throwing stuff out there. Grizz will be out this weekend to really prove it and put it on the table. So, if you are in town, the Beer and Wine Festival is Friday night too. I'm going to get to town a little late. Otherwise, we were totally going to go to that.
That would have been cool.
I actually don't fly until 9:00 that night. So,
how you go right after that? Go right there.
I think it gets over like at 10. So, it's earlier. I think that's getting over. So.
Yeah. I'm going to be getting in. I'll be going up and staying with my friend in Helena, and then we'll be driving down to Saturday. So, but yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, we'll both be there. So
we'll both be there.
Around the tailgates, walking around. We'll be for sure. They tailgate. I'm so excited for this game. It's going to be awesome, and getting to be in Grizz because you're sitting in north end zone. I'll be in the south end zone. I think I'm 6 rows up right behind the goal post. So
nice. Catch a ball.
Exactly.
There you go. Oh man. Well, you guys, we can't thank you enough for listening. We've had
absolutely
great reaction, great numbers, great participation. We love seeing that because that's what we're here for. We're just two guys that like to talk Grizz sports. And it's just crazy that this is something that we just do for fun. But if you guys want to be a part of it, we want you to be a part of it. So definitely get a hold of us on Instagram and Twitter at fightonmontana, as well as you can find us on Facebook, Messenger, wherever you want to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of us. But also, we say it every time, rate, review, and subscribe. That tremendously helps us as well, getting us out on the Apple algorithm there, which most of you listen to us on as well. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Give us those 5 stars as well. And man, I can't wait for Friday. If you guys see us, I don't know, you're not going to probably know us from anybody, but hopefully we get to meet some of you guys out there and say, hey, I think we listened to your pod, or definitely give us a high five or something. So thank you is what I'm trying to get to.
Thanks for listening, and looking forward to this weekend. God, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be so much fun. Like always, go Grizz.
FTC.
There we go.